Now to tonight's Target 8 investigation. Our investigators are getting a West Michigan take on the federal government's change of heart about UFOs. The government went from denying unexplainable sightings to admitting people are seeing things that nobody can identify and releasing military video of some of them.
It wasn't like that, though, in 1994, when strange lights lit the sky over the lakeshore. Tonight, our Target 8 investigators are discovering how that sighting changed the lives of the people who watched it, and the government's new attitude, what it means to them.
Here's Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.
Today's 3/8/94. The time 21:30 hours. They're right there in the sky. It's just something we've never seen before.
Unexplained lights over Holland on March 8th, 1994. Strange stuff. Didn't look like a plane or anything else people are used to. Had them calling 911.
911? Okay, I don't know if you guys do anything on UFOs at all. They were at least 4 lights.
They were like Christmas lights.
Holly Graves' family watched for 20 minutes from their front yard. Colored lights slowly rotating.
When all of a sudden my son just started screaming. You know, get out here, you gotta see this.
All the way from Ludington.
It was a big sighting. There was a lot of news coverage, and for a while, Holly kept her kids out of school.
And they just went through a really hard time because they know what they saw, but it's like everybody still laughed at you.
People forget that the U in UFO stands for unidentified. That means nobody knows what they are. Still, that's never stopped people from speculating, sometimes choosing up sides, even getting nasty.
They accused us of being in the backyard smoking weed doing drugs with our kids. That was MUFON.
It's been nearly 30 years, but the experience left a mark. Holly says even today her now adult children don't want to talk about it. But listen to her.
I'm glad my family got to see it. I really am. It's like once in a lifetime to see this.
You listen to her nearly 30 years later, and it seems like the experience changed her in some way.
It's an experience that I'll take to my grave with me.
So you're looking at this thing that night, and what were you thinking?
I was thinking I was going to lose my job.
Jack Bushong's job was meteorologist for the National Weather Service at a station in Muskegon. Ottawa County Central Dispatch was getting a lot of UFO reports and reached out to him for radar clarity. He found out later their conversation was recorded.
We're getting a whole bunch of calls with some strange lights.
Then I was really scared, and I lost sleep.
He fretted about what people would think about what he was seeing.
People think you're a kook, you know? You're lying, you're not credible. I'm supposed to be a scientist and skeptical.
I'm looking at it in the vertical now.
On the recording, you can hear Bushong calmly controlling the radar by hand, trying to zero in. When he finally gets the picture.
Well, oh my God, what is this? They were going together and coming apart.
Radar was telling him the objects were forming a wide triangle and moving fast. No recording, so he made these paper tracings of what he was seeing on his screen.
They were moving about 20 miles in each jump. They were hovering and then jumping, hovering and then jumping.
These are huge returns. I've never seen anything like this. Not even when I'm doing storms. These are storms. They're like, they're just popping up all over the place.
He says the radar told him he was looking at something solid.
It was a flying tin can, you know. I don't know how else to explain it.
He says some people dismissed what he saw, but despite his worry, the sighting didn't seem to affect his career. He got promoted, moved out of state, won an award for his storm predictions, and eventually retired. But all that time, he clammed up about his experience on the lakeshore.
I kept my mouth shut, and I learned that really quickly.
For decades, the government fostered that kind of fear by dismissing UFO reports, explaining them away as people misidentifying stuff like weather balloons. It kept even credible people quiet. After a flock of sightings in Michigan in the 60s, then Congressman Gerald Ford of Grand Rapids said in this letter, the government was misleading the public and called for congressional hearings and more straightforward talk. That took more than 50 years. And lately, there's a big change in government attitude. It's why Bushong is talking about it again.
That has everything to do with it, yeah.
138 now, it's going fast.
The government is now releasing video of sightings by the military and admitting in this report just released that people really are seeing things that nobody can figure out. Bushong says a lot of the video and descriptions are just like what he saw on radar nearly 30 years ago.
I guess I've been waiting for this vindication, which I didn't think I was going to get all my life, so I was just going to let it die out. But now with the military coming out and basically saying exactly the same thing I saw 30 years ago, I can finally say to people, told you so, you know.
Bushong says he's going to write a scientific paper about his experience in 1994. And nearly 30 years after seeing the same thing from her front yard, Holly Graves has a wish.
I wish everybody'd see it. I do. I wish everybody would see it because it was an experience of a lifetime.
I'm Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.